Focus on you until you win. Full audiobook. Listen closely. Your life will never change until you become the main character of your own story. Not your friends, not your family, not the people you're trying to impress. You. This book is simple. Focus on you until you win. Not until you're comfortable, not until it feels good, not until people believe in you. Until you win. No more excuses, no more distractions, no more waiting for someone to save you. You have one job from this moment forward. Build yourself so powerfully that winning becomes the only possible outcome. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Stop waiting for permission. You've wasted too much of your life waiting for approval, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to tell you, now you can start. But here's the hard truth you've avoided for years. No one is coming. No one is going to hand you permission to build your life. No one is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, it's your time now. That's the key. Your life won't move forward until you stop waiting for someone else to approve your movement. You don't need their permission. You never did. Every day you wait, you shrink. Every day you hesitate, you hand your power to someone else. Every day you hold back, you reinforce the weakest version of yourself. And you know that. You felt the frustration. You felt the heaviness. You felt the anger building up inside you because you know you're capable of more, but you're stuck. Stuck behind the invisible gate of permission. But hear me clearly. That gate was never locked. You're the one standing there, holding it shut. You have a choice. You can keep waiting, or you can act right now. Let's make something very clear. Most people never win, not because they aren't smart, not because they aren't talented, but because they can't make a move unless someone claps for them first. They need applause before effort. They need approval before action. They need acceptance before commitment. And that mindset destroys everything. It kills your ambition. It buries your confidence. It silences your potential. Your life doesn't need another person's permission slip. Your goals don't need their signature. Your dreams don't need their approval stamp. You don't need their permission. And the moment you finally understand that, your entire life changes. Think about every truly successful person you admire. They didn't wait. They didn't hesitate. They didn't beg for validation. They acted. They moved. They built. And they kept going long after everyone else stopped watching. Let me give you a real example. There was a guy who wanted to start a fitness channel. He waited 2 years. 2 years because his friends laughed at him. They said he wasn't big enough, experienced enough, or good on camera. But one day he made a decision. No more waiting. He filmed his first video on his phone with bad lighting in a messy room. No permission, no support, no encouragement. Fast forward 4 years, millions of views, brand sponsorships, a full-time business. And do you know what he said was the turning point? One day I realized I don't need their permission. That's all it took. One decision, one mindset shift, one moment of taking action without waiting to be chosen. This chapter is about creating that shift inside you right now. Maybe you're waiting to start the gym because you don't want people staring. Maybe you're waiting to start a business because you're scared of failing publicly. Maybe you're waiting to leave a toxic environment because you want everyone to understand your decision. Stop. Stop explaining. Stop asking. Stop delaying. Act now. Act fast. Act without waiting. Why? Because every day you wait, you strengthen your hesitation. And every day you act, you strengthen your discipline. You have a choice. Stay the same or step forward. You know which one scares you. And that's exactly why you need to move toward it. Let me give you another real-world example. A woman wanted to write a book. She waited 5 years because she told herself she needed a writing coach, a publishing deal, and a perfect outline. But the truth was simpler. She was waiting for someone to tell her she was capable. One day, she finally told herself, "No one is coming." She wrote one page, then another, then another. She published the book herself. It sold thousands of copies. And the reviews? People said the book changed their lives. Imagine if she had waited another 5 years. Imagine if she never acted because she was waiting for someone to say, "You're good enough." Stop doing that to yourself. Stop letting fear disguise itself as patience. Stop letting doubt disguise itself as waiting for the right time. There is no right time. There is only now. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their applause. You need your own decision. That's it. And yes, people will judge you. People will doubt you. People will criticize you. But here's what most never realize. When you act without permission, you become unstoppable. You become untouchable. You become undeniable. Because the moment you stop seeking validation, you free your energy. You free your ambition. You free your mind. You stop performing. You start building. You stop explaining. You start executing. You stop waiting. You start winning. Act now. Act fast. Act without waiting. Repeat that until it becomes your new operating system. Every time you hesitate, say it. Every time you second guess yourself, say it. Every time you look for approval, say it. You don't need their permission. This is your life. This is your path. This is your mission. And no one, no friend, no family member, no stranger gets to decide the size of your future. Only you do. That's the key. You have a choice. Stay small because someone might judge you, or you can build the life you want because you finally stopped caring. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you start winning. And this entire audiobook is built on that foundation. You've taken the first step by listening. Now you take the second step by acting. Because once you stop waiting for permission, everything else becomes possible. You've broken the gate. You've stepped forward. You've chosen yourself. Now, let's take that power even deeper. You stopped waiting. Now let's talk about what happens when you take ownership of your future. Chapter 2. Your future is your responsibility. Here is Chapter 2. Your future is your responsibility. Listen carefully, because this chapter is the moment the entire direction of your life shifts. Your future is not luck. Your future is not fate. Your future is not waiting behind some invisible door for the right time to show up. Your future is your responsibility. Say it again in your mind, because this one idea separates the people who rise from the people who disappear. No one is coming. No one is coming to fix your habits. No one is coming to repair your discipline. No one is coming to hand you the life you keep imagining when the lights are off. Your future is your job. And that's the key. You have a choice every single day. You can build or you can wait. And the people who wait always lose. Always. Let's talk about the person who waits. You've seen them. They talk about what they want, but never what they're doing. They speak of dreams, but they have no deadlines. They blame timing, blame luck, blame childhood, blame circumstances. They love the story of one day. One day I'll start. One day I'll be ready. One day the opportunity will show up. But one day is a graveyard. It's where ambition goes to die. And then there's the builder. The person who doesn't wait for the moment, they create the moment. The person who doesn't chase motivation, they chase responsibility. They understand a simple truth. Your future is your job, not your family's job, not society's job, not your boss's job, not your partner's job. Your job. Builders wake up and choose action even when it's uncomfortable. Builders move first. Builders fail forward. Builders live by discipline, not by feelings. And here's what separates the builder from the dreamer. The builder knows that the price of inaction is always higher than the price of effort. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. If your life is not where you want it to be, it's not because you're broken. It's because you stopped taking responsibility. And responsibility Responsibility isn't a punishment. Responsibility is your power. When you blame, you lose power. When you wait, you lose power. When you expect someone else to carry you, you lose power. But when you say, my future is my job, something shifts. You stop begging life to be easier. You start becoming stronger. And that's the key. Everything changes when you take ownership. Suddenly, your goals aren't wishes. They're assignments. Your habits aren't accidents. They're tools. Your choices aren't random. They're investments. Every action you take today either builds or destroys your future. And you have a choice. Let's break this down with something real. Picture two people with the same dream. Start a business. Lose 30 pounds. Write a book. Doesn't matter which goal. Pick any. Person A waits. They research endlessly. They plan, but they never execute. They worry about failing before they even try. They tell themselves they'll start when life calms down. They consume information but never apply it. Person B builds. They start small. They take imperfect action. They don't know everything, but they know enough to begin. They learn, adjust, adapt. They understand that discipline beats perfection. And here's the painful truth. In 1 year, person B has momentum. Person B has results. Person B has a different life. Person A has excuses. Person A has regret. The difference was never talent. The difference was never intelligence. The difference was responsibility. Your future is your job. Responsibility is a strange thing. People run from it because they think it makes life harder. But the opposite is true. Responsibility makes life clearer. When you take responsibility, decision-making becomes simple, not easy. Simple. The question becomes, does this action build my future or destroy it? That's it. That's the filter. That's the key. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You need accountability to yourself, to your choices, to your discipline. Because it's not about your fear. It's about your discipline. It's not about your past. It's about your responsibility. It's not about what you didn't have. It's about what you're building now. You have a choice. Let's talk about the myth people love to believe. The myth of the rescue. People secretly think someone will notice their potential and save them. A mentor will find them. A partner will fix them. A friend will push them. A boss will promote them without effort. A miracle will arrive out of nowhere. But here's the truth. If you're waiting to be rescued, you've already lost. Life doesn't reward potential. Life rewards responsibility. Life rewards effort. Life rewards the person who doesn't wait for a savior because they've already decided to save themselves. Your future is your job. So what do you do starting today? You start taking ruthless ownership of your habits, your mornings, your sleep, your discipline, your commitments. You track what you do, not what you say you'll do. And most importantly, you stop outsourcing your future to other people's opinions and push yourself. Push yourself. You don't need permission to build your life. You need responsibility, and you have that right now. This chapter is your line in the sand. From this moment forward, you're done waiting. You're done blaming. You're done hoping someone else will carry your dream to the finish line. You pick it up. You build it. You own it because your future is your job. And now that you understand responsibility, it's time to understand something even deeper. The work you build in silence becomes the life you live in public. Chapter 3, Leave Their Opinions Behind. Below is Chapter 3, Leave Their Opinions Behind. There's a moment in your life where you either break free or you break down. And that moment comes the day you realize this truth. Most of your fear isn't fear of failure. It's fear of their opinions. The opinions of people who aren't building your future. The opinions of people who aren't doing the work you're doing. The opinions of people who won't be there when your life falls apart. Say this to yourself right now. Their opinions are not your problem. And that's the key. You have a choice. You can build your life or you can perform for strangers. You can rise or you can please, but you cannot do both. And the people who succeed understand that early. Let's be brutally honest. Most failure doesn't come from lack of talent. Most failure doesn't come from lack of opportunity. Most failure comes from living for opinions that don't matter. You didn't apply because of opinions. You didn't start because of opinions. You didn't speak up because of opinions. You didn't try again because of opinions. And for what? For approval that doesn't change your life? For validation that doesn't pay your bills? For applause that doesn't build your future? Listen carefully. Their opinions are not your problem. Top performers know something you don't. They know that every time you give weight to someone else's opinion, you give away a piece of your future. You give away your energy, your confidence, your direction. And top performers refuse to give that away. Do you think the greatest athletes care what the crowd says while they train at 5 a.m.? Do you think the most successful entrepreneurs care about the criticism they get before their breakthrough? Do you think anyone who changed the world did it by chasing approval? No. They moved, they acted, they decided, because you don't need their permission to become who you were meant to be. Their opinions are not your problem. Let's talk about what really happens when you live for approval. You shrink, you fold, you hesitate, you stop choosing the life you want and start performing for the life they expect. You modify your dreams to avoid judgment. You limit your potential to avoid criticism. You settle for average because average feels safe. But safety is a prison. Comfort is a trap. And opinions are chains. Break them. You have a choice. And that's the key. Here's the truth. Most people judging you aren't winning. They're not pushing themselves. They're not risking anything. They're not building anything. People at the bottom judge. People in the middle gossip. People at the top build. And when you finally start climbing, you realize something powerful. The people who are ahead of you never hate on you. The people who are behind you always do. Why? Because your effort exposes their laziness. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your growth exposes their stagnation. So they project opinions at you like arrows, hoping you'll stop moving so they don't have to confront their own inaction. But their opinions are not your problem. Your discipline is your responsibility. So how do you detach from their opinions? You do it with mental separation. You stop giving emotional weight to words spoken by people who aren't paying the price you're paying. Real-world instruction number 1. Measure opinions by credibility, not volume. If they aren't doing more than you, their opinion means less than 0. Real-world instruction number 2. Don't defend your goals. Execute your goals. The moment you start explaining yourself, you're already losing ground. Real-world instruction number 3. Expect judgment. Train for it. If you're doing anything meaningful, opinions will come, not because you're wrong, but because you're visible. And the more visible you become, the louder the noise becomes. But it's just noise, and noise only distracts the undisciplined. You're not undisciplined anymore. Their opinions are not your problem. Your future is your job. Let's go deeper. Do you know why their opinions hurt you? Because you attach your identity to how people see you. You build your self-worth on external approval. You monitor reactions instead of monitoring your progress. But identity built on opinions is identity built on sand. One negative comment and you crumble. One rejection and your confidence shatters. One disapproval and suddenly you forget who you are. Stop building your identity on the vibration of their voices. You are not their thoughts. You are not their judgments. You are not their assumptions. You are your decisions. You are your focus. You are your discipline, and that's the key. Let me give you the real transformation. You don't become unstoppable when people believe in you. You become unstoppable when it no longer matters if they don't. You rise when you stop performing. You grow when you stop explaining. You accelerate when you stop apologizing. When you detach from opinions, you become dangerous in the best way, because nothing slows you, nothing distracts you. Nothing derails you. And most people fail because they are controlled by invisible critics who contribute nothing to their lives. Don't let invisible critics shape your destiny. Don't let passive spectators dictate your direction. Don't let small minds limit your future. You have a choice, and the right choice is simple. Leave their opinions behind. Your future cannot be built with fear. Your future cannot be built in hesitation. Your future cannot be built while you're staring over your shoulder waiting for approval. You move forward. You act now. You choose the direction. You build the momentum. You take responsibility because their opinions are not your problem, but your future is. And now that you're ready to walk forward without permission, it's time to learn something even more powerful. What you do consistently becomes who you become permanently. Chapter 4. Master the quiet work. Here is Chapter 4. Master the quiet work. You want success. But here's the truth. Success is built in the silence, not in the noise, not in the applause. It's built in the quiet work, the invisible effort that no one sees. We live in a world where everyone wants to be noticed. Everyone wants the spotlight. But here's the secret. The spotlight is the last step. The real work, the real progress happens in the shadows. It's what no one sees. It's what no one appreciates. It's what builds you when no one's looking. Here's the problem. Most people want to skip the quiet work. They want the recognition without the grind. They want the reward without the sacrifice. But you don't earn the reward until you've done the work. That's the key. The quiet work is what separates winners from dreamers. Winners build the foundation while everyone else is distracted by the noise. Winners put in hours that no one will ever applaud. Winners sit in solitude, pushing through the repetitive tasks that seem unimportant but are actually everything. You want to win? Master the quiet work. You want to stand out? Master the quiet work. You want success? Master the quiet work. Let me break this down. When you wake up early and no one else is awake, when you stay up late, long after others have gone to bed, when you're journaling, studying, writing, sharpening your skills in silence, that's the work that wins. That's the work that matters. That's the work that builds the results that people will notice later. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. You have to do that work without expecting anyone to notice. No one's going to cheer for you. No one's going to applaud your commitment. No one's going to praise you for your hours of studying, practicing, and repeating the same thing over and over again. And that's okay, because the quiet work is for you, not for them. You don't need external validation to know that you're winning. You don't need anyone's approval to know you're moving in the right direction. The people who succeed are the ones who embrace this. Success doesn't happen when the crowd is watching. It happens when the crowd is unaware. You don't need the applause. You don't need the validation. You need the discipline to put in the work every day, no matter how invisible it seems. Here's the problem with most people. They look for shortcuts. They look for the easy way. They want the results without the grind. They want to cut corners and still win. But it doesn't work that way. The quiet work is what creates the results. It's what separates the winners from the losers. It's what makes you better, stronger, more skilled. And this isn't just about putting in more hours. This is about putting in the right hours, focused, consistent, without distraction. Quiet work builds loud results. Now, let's talk about how to master this. Step 1. Commit to a routine. This isn't optional. If you want to win, you need to build a routine that prioritizes the quiet work. It starts with your morning. The first 30 minutes of your day determine everything. What do you do in the first 30 minutes? Do you scroll through your phone, checking social media, looking for external validation? Or do you journal? Do you read? Do you focus on your goals and set the tone for the day? Your morning routine sets the foundation. Get it right. Step 2. Embrace repetition. Here's the cold truth. You will repeat things 1,000 times before anyone notices. The key to mastery is repetition. Whether it's practicing your craft, learning new skills, or improving your body, you're going to have to do the same things over and over again when no one is watching. That's the quiet work. And that's where the real growth happens. You have to embrace it. You have to love it, because repetition done right leads to excellence, and excellence leads to results. Step 3. Study in silence. The most successful people in the world aren't just grinding. They're studying. They're reading. They're learning. They're soaking up knowledge in silence. You have to make time for this. If you want to be the best, you have to be the best student. The quiet work of studying, of expanding your knowledge, of improving your mind, is the engine that drives success. Don't neglect it. Make time for learning. Make time for growth. Now, I want to challenge you. Look at your routine. Look at the quiet work in your life. Are you putting in the hours that will build your success? Are you focusing on the small, consistent actions that will get you ahead? Or are you distracted by the noise, the hype, the validation? If you want to rise, if you want to break through, you have to master the quiet work. Quiet work builds loud results. And that's the key. Now, let's talk about the takeaway. This isn't about the applause. It's not about the approval. It's about the hours you put in when no one is looking. It's about the work you do in silence. It's about the foundation you build in the dark that will later shine in the light. You've got to be okay with working in silence. You've got to be okay with no one noticing. You've got to be okay with grinding, with repetition, with the discipline to continue, even when it feels like nothing's changing, because it is. Quiet work builds loud results, and that's the key. Now that you've learned how to embrace the quiet work, let's talk about what happens when you stop pretending, when you stop playing it small and actually commit to showing up at the highest level. Let's talk about the true power of the quiet work and how to use it to fuel your next level. Chapter 5. Kill distractions before they kill you.
Here is Chapter 5. Kill distractions before they kill you. Distractions are not small. Distractions are not harmless. Distractions don't steal minutes. They steal years. Every time you lose your focus, every time you break your rhythm, every time you allow something meaningless to interrupt your progress, your future gets pushed further away. This is the truth no one tells you. Your biggest enemy is not failure. Your biggest enemy is distraction, because distraction destroys your momentum. Distraction destroys your consistency. Distraction destroys your potential. And here's the part you don't want to hear. You allow it. You choose it. You let it in. That's the key. You have a choice. You can protect your focus, or you can hand it away to anything loud enough to grab your attention. Today's world is built to distract you. Apps are designed to hijack your brain. People are conditioned to interrupt you. Your own mind gets addicted to chaos. But here's the truth. If you don't kill distractions, distractions will kill your discipline. They will kill your progress. They will kill your future. Protect your focus at all costs. Say it again. Protect your focus at all costs. Let's break this into the 3 brutal categories you must eliminate. 1. Digital chaos. Your phone is not a tool anymore. It's a trap. A system engineered to keep you reactive, not productive. Ask yourself honestly, how many goals have you delayed because your attention was stolen? How many hours have you wasted scrolling? How many dreams have you abandoned because you were too distracted to follow through? Every notification is a thief. Every random video is a detour. Every dopamine hit pulls you further away from the person you say you want to be. You don't need every app. You don't need every notification. You don't need constant stimulation. You need focus. You need discipline. You need silence. So what do? You take control. You delete the apps that drain you. You turn off every non-essential notification. You put your phone in another room when you're working. This isn't optional. This is survival. Protect your focus at all costs. 2. People chaos. Some people are not bad. They're just loud. They're chaotic. They're directionless. And if you let them, they will pull you into their chaos. You know exactly who they are. The friend who calls with drama. The person who drains your energy. The group that keeps you stuck where you are instead of where you need to be. Here's the truth. Not everyone deserves access to your attention. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone deserves access to your time. You have to cut access. You have to create distance. You have to set boundaries. This isn't cruelty. This is discipline. You're not rejecting people. You're rejecting the chaos they bring. You're not abandoning friendships. You're abandoning the distractions that destroy your potential. That's the key. Protect your focus at all costs. 3. Mental chaos. This is the hardest part because sometimes the loudest distractions don't come from your phone or your friends. They come from you, your thoughts, your doubts, your fears, your urges, your excuses. The internal noise is relentless. It pulls you away from the moment. It scatters your focus. It weakens your discipline. You have to shut it down. And no, it won't happen by accident. You need practice. You need structure. You need intentional mental discipline. Here's what works. Journaling. Get the noise out of your head and onto paper. Time boxing. Give your tasks a time, a place, and a boundary. Your mind calms down when your plan is clear. Single tasking. Pick one thing. Only one thing. Do it until it's done. Your brain becomes sharper through repetition. Your thoughts become quieter through structure. Your mental chaos shrinks when your discipline grows. And every time you strengthen your mind, you weaken the distractions that destroy your future. Protect your focus at all costs. Now, let's get brutally real. Every dream you have requires focus. Every goal you've set requires consistency. Every level you want to reach requires discipline. But discipline cannot survive in a distracted environment. You can't build greatness in chaos. You can't build success in noise. You can't build a future while you're enslaved to distractions that don't matter. You want to win? You want to rise? You want to become unstoppable? Then you must become aggressive about protecting your focus. Not soft, not flexible, not I'll try. Aggressive. When something distracts you, you eliminate it. When someone pulls you off track, you step away. When your mind wanders, you bring it back. This is not about perfection. This is about control. This is about taking your attention back from the world that is trying to steal it from you. You have a choice. Every day, every hour, every moment, you can give in to distraction or you can choose discipline. And that's exactly what separates winners from everyone else. Winners protect their focus at all costs. So here's your challenge. Audit your distractions. Identify them, eliminate them, replace them with silence, structure, and intentional focus. Because when you kill distractions, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your mind. You reclaim your future. The world is loud. Discipline is quiet. And the quiet always wins. Now that you've learned how to protect your mental space, it's time to raise the bar even higher. You can't grow if your standards stay low. You cut the noise. Now let's raise the expectations. Chapter 6, Build an Identity That Wins.
Below is Chapter 6, Build an Identity That Wins. Identity drives action. Your life moves in the direction of your identity, not your goals, not your intentions, not your dreams, your identity. Because identity drives action. Say it again. Identity drives action. If you want to know why your life looks the way it looks, don't examine your plans. Examine your identity. Your actions already reveal what you truly believe about yourself. People say, I'm trying. But trying is not an identity. Trying is uncertainty. Trying is hesitation. Trying is permission for inconsistency. Winners don't try. Winners decide. And once you decide who you are, your actions follow automatically. That's the key. Identity comes before achievement. Most people get this backwards. They want to achieve before they become. They say, when I succeed, then I'll see myself as a winner. When I get disciplined, then I'll act disciplined. No, you have it reversed. You become first. You act second. You achieve third. That is the order. Winners know this. They say, I am the type of person who wins long before the results show up. And that identity forces their actions to align. Because identity drives action. You have a choice. Keep identifying as the old you or build the identity required for the life you actually want. Your identity is a story. Rewrite it. Here's the truth you've avoided. Your identity is just a story you repeat to yourself. a script, a loop, a narrative you didn't question. I'm inconsistent. I'm not motivated. I always mess things up. I can never stay focused. None of these were facts. They were identities you accepted. But you can rewrite a story. You can rewrite an identity. You don't need their permission. You don't need your past's permission. You don't need your mistakes' permission. You need one decision. This is who I am now. And once that identity is set, your actions will reorganize around it. Not because of motivation, but because identity drives action. The shift from trying to becoming. You're not trying to wake up early. You're becoming the type of person who wakes up early. You're not trying to stay disciplined. You're becoming the type of person who lives with discipline. You're not trying to change your health, your mindset, your environment. You're becoming the type of person who protects their future. This shift is powerful. It eliminates negotiation. It eliminates self-doubt. It eliminates inconsistency. Because when the identity is defined, the behavior becomes automatic. You brush your teeth every day because your identity is, I'm a person who takes care of my hygiene. You don't debate it. You don't need motivation. You just do it. Apply the same rule to your success. When you say, I'm the type of person who wins, your habits rise to match it because identity drives action. That's the key. Identity must be supported by evidence. Identity is not made from wishes. Identity is made from votes, daily votes, repeated votes, small, consistent actions. Every disciplined action is a vote for the identity you want. Every broken promise is a vote for the identity you're trying to escape. You have a choice every day. Which identity are you voting for? The disciplined one or the old one? You can't claim the identity of a champion while practicing the habits of a quitter. You can't claim the identity of a focused person while drowning in distractions. You can't claim the identity of someone who wins if you're still behaving like someone who waits for permission. Identity must be proven. Identity must be reinforced. Identity must be practiced because identity drives action. Environment shapes identity. This is where many people fail. They try to build a new identity inside an environment designed for the old one. You can't build discipline in a room full of distractions. You can't build mental strength in a circle full of weak habits. You can't build success in an environment that rewards excuses. Your environment must match your identity. Your surroundings must reflect who you choose to become. If you say, I'm the type of person who wins, then you must create an environment that supports winning. Clean your space. Organize your tools. Remove the apps that drain you. Remove the people who distract you. Remove the habits that sabotage you. Identity is not just internal. Identity is external reinforcement. Winners don't wait for their environment to change. They change it themselves because they understand the truth. Your identity will always shrink or rise to match your environment. Choose the environment that forces you to be great. Choose the environment that demands your discipline because identity drives action, but environment drives identity. Build the identity of a finisher. Most people never win because they don't finish. They start strong, they burn out, they quit, and they form an identity around quitting. But finishers think differently. I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when it's done. Finishers don't negotiate. Finishers don't delay. Finishers don't wait for motivation. They finish because that's who they are. You want the identity of a winner? Then finish things. Finish the workout. Finish the chapter. Finish the project. Finish the commitment you made to yourself. Every completion builds the identity. Every completion reinforces the story. I follow through. I do what I say. I am the type of person who wins because identity drives action, and finishing is the action that builds a life. A winning identity is a lifetime decision. Here's the truth. Identity is not a moment. Identity is a lifestyle. Identity is a declaration you renew every morning. Every day you wake up with two choices. Repeat the identity of your past or reinforce the identity of your future. You build yourself or you betray yourself. There is no middle ground. Identity is the foundation of discipline. Identity is the fuel of consistency. Identity is the engine of transformation. Say it one more time. Identity drives action. Transition to the next chapter. You made the shift. You confronted the story. You built the identity that wins. But identity is only the beginning. It tells you who you are. Now you must master the force that determines whether you act on that identity every single day. The force that separates dreamers from achievers. You built an identity that wins. Now let's talk about the power that sustains it. Chapter 7, Discipline over Motivation Every Time.
Below is Chapter 7, Discipline over Motivation Every Time. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. Say it clearly. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. Most people lose because they rely on motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect morning, the perfect mood, the perfect wave of inspiration. And while they wait, their life moves nowhere. Motivation is unreliable. Motivation is inconsistent. Motivation depends on emotion, and emotion changes hourly. You have a choice. Build your life on your feelings or build your life on your decisions. Only one of those leads to greatness. Motivation is a lie you tell yourself. Let's be honest. When you say, "I'm not motivated," what you really mean is, "I don't want to be uncomfortable." Motivation is the language of avoidance. It's the story you tell yourself to delay the work. It's the soft blanket that keeps you weak. I didn't go to the gym because I wasn't motivated. I didn't study because I wasn't motivated. I didn't work on my goals because I didn't feel it today. Listen carefully. Winners don't need to feel it. Winners don't wait. Winners act. Because winners understand one thing. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. That's the key. Discipline is doing it anyway. Discipline means you do the work even when you're tired, even when you're stressed, even when your mind tells you to quit. Discipline is built during the moments you want to walk away. Discipline is forged in discomfort. Discipline is strengthened by resistance. Anyone can work when they feel good. Anyone can show up on their best days. Anyone can start. But discipline is what makes you finish. Discipline is what makes you return tomorrow. Discipline is what builds the identity of someone who wins. You don't need their permission to become disciplined. You don't need the perfect conditions. You don't need motivation. You need a decision. You need structure. You need follow-through. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. Daily habits build the life you want. Your life is not built in big moments. Your life is built in the tiny, repeated decisions you make every day. Scheduled workouts, planned mornings, structured routines, non-negotiable habits. These are the foundations of a disciplined life. These are the actions that build momentum. You think habits don't matter? Look at your life. Your habits already built your current results. If you're not where you want to be, it's because your habits are aligned with your comfort, not your goals. You have a choice every morning. Remain the person who waits for motivation, or become the person who moves with discipline. Why motivation fails you every time. Motivation is emotional energy, and emotional energy burns out quickly. That's why people have great starts and terrible follow-through. Motivation fails because it isn't rooted in identity. It isn't rooted in commitment. It isn't rooted in structure. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Motivation shows up when it wants to. Discipline lives with you. Discipline follows you. Discipline shapes you. If you want results, you can no longer depend on emotional waves. You must depend on the systems you build. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. Discipline is a skill, not a personality trait. You are not born disciplined or born undisciplined. That's a myth. A convenient story you tell yourself to avoid accountability. Discipline is a skill you practice, a skill you strengthen through repetition, a skill you rebuild every day. You have a choice. You can live as the person who repeats excuses or become the person who repeats discipline. It's not about being talented. It's not about being gifted. It's not about being naturally motivated. It's about building systems that remove the need for motivation. Systems that turn discipline into your default mode. That's the key. Real-world discipline, the examples. Let's make it practical. A disciplined person schedules their workout. They don't see how they feel. They follow a plan. A disciplined person sets their mornings the night before. Clothes prepared. Tasks defined, priorities chosen. No guessing, no drifting, no chaos. A disciplined person uses routines to remove decision fatigue. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on structure. A disciplined person sets boundaries around their time. No unnecessary scrolling. No mindless entertainment. No energy wasted on people who drain them. Discipline is order. Discipline is clarity. Discipline is control. And every one of these actions reinforces the core identity. I am the type of person who shows up no matter what. Because discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. You don't need motivation. You need standard. Here's the truth. People who depend on motivation chase feelings. People who depend on discipline chase results. Set standards. High standards. Non-negotiable standards. I work out regardless of mood. I follow my routine regardless of stress. I execute my plan regardless of inconvenience. This is how discipline becomes your identity. This is how execution becomes automatic. This is how success becomes predictable. Motivation is emotional. Standards are structural. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. Raise them, protect them, live by them. Discipline creates the life motivation promises. Motivation makes you excited. Discipline makes you successful. Motivation talks. Discipline acts. Motivation inspires. Discipline transforms. Every great life you admire is built on discipline. Not hype, not excitement, not temporary energy. Daily discipline. Daily decisions. Daily follow through. Say it again. Discipline is the decision. Motivation is the excuse. Transition to the next chapter. You chose discipline over motivation. You built structure. You eliminated excuses. You committed to action. Now it's time to focus on the next truth. Success doesn't come from explosive effort. It comes from steady, consistent pressure applied over time. You master discipline. Now let's talk about the fuel that keeps you going. Chapter 8. Make your environment serve your goals.
Chapter 8. Make your environment serve your goals. Your environment is not neutral. Your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. And most people never realize this simple truth. Your environment shapes your outcomes. That's the key. You can have ambition, talent, dreams, and even discipline. But if you live inside a chaotic, unprepared, unstructured environment, you will always fight uphill. You will always lose energy. You will always rely on motivation instead of systems. But winners don't live by motivation. Winners live by design. Look around you right now. Is your room designed for your goals? Is your desk designed for your focus? Is your kitchen designed for your health? Or are you living in a space that constantly distracts you, drains you, and disrupts you? Your environment shapes your outcomes. Say it again. Say it until it becomes automatic. Your environment shapes your outcomes. Most people try to change their lives while keeping the same environment that built their problems. They want discipline without structure. They want progress without preparation. They want focus while living inside noise. You can't do that. You can't outrun your environment. Not for long, not consistently. If you want the next level, you must make your environment serve your goals. 1. Build the space that builds you. Discipline becomes easy when the environment demands less willpower from you. You don't need to be a superhero. You just need a smart setup. Clean your room. I'm not saying it because it sounds motivational. I'm saying it because clutter is mental friction. Clutter slows your brain down. Clutter reminds you of unfinished tasks. Clutter keeps you emotionally stuck. A clean room is a clean mind. A clean desk is a clean day. A clean environment is a clear runway for momentum. This is why elite athletes lay out their gear the night before. This is why successful entrepreneurs preset their workspace. This is why high performers don't leave their environment to chance, because they know the secret. Your environment shapes your outcomes. Set your clothes out at night. Prepare your gym bag the evening before. Organize your workspace before bed. Make ready your your default state. Why? Because you're removing decision fatigue. You're removing the weakest version of yourself from the process. You're making success automatic. You have a choice. Continue leaving your environment up to chaos or build a space that supports the disciplined version of you. 2. Remove everything that fights your focus. Your environment is full of small triggers, stress triggers, distraction triggers, temptation triggers. You don't notice them because they're normal to you, but your results notice them. Your discipline notices them. Your life notices them. You can't focus when your phone is buzzing every 10 seconds. You can't focus when your laptop has 42 tabs open. You can't focus when your workspace is filled with reminders of everything you haven't done. That's why high performers work in minimalist spaces. That's why they eliminate noise. That's why they remove temptation from the room instead of relying on willpower. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And your systems live inside your environment. You don't need their permission. You don't need anyone's approval to redesign your space. It's your life. It's your mission. You're the one carrying the weight of your dreams. So remove the distractions. Put your phone in another room when you work. Limit visual clutter. Delete apps you don't need. Make distraction impossible. Because here's the truth. If your environment makes distraction easy, you will always lose. But if your environment makes discipline easy, you will always win. That's the key. 3. Make your environment remind you of who you're becoming. Your environment should reflect your goals, not your past. Too many people decorate their space with reminders of their old identity, old habits, old routines, old comforts. But growth requires identity shifts, and identity shifts require environmental shift. Put your goals where you can see them. Put reminders of your standards in your workspace. Put your routines in plain sight. If you want discipline, surround yourself with cues that trigger discipline. The gym clothes laid out, the water bottle ready, the morning journal on the table, the healthy snacks visible instead of hidden, the books you need to read sitting on your desk, not buried behind your bed. You're building a system that speaks to you, a system that whispers, this is who you're becoming. Because here's the truth you can't ignore. You become what surrounds you. You behave according to the environment you live in. You are influenced by what your eyes see every day. Your environment shapes your outcomes. So build an environment that strengthens your identity. Build an environment that reinforces your discipline. Build an environment that reminds you that you're not the same person you used to be. You have a choice. You can surround yourself with triggers of your old habits, or you can surround yourself with evidence of your future self. 1. Build the space that builds you. Discipline becomes easy when the environment demands less willpower from you. You don't need to be a superhero. You just need a smart setup. Clean your room. I'm not saying it because it sounds motivational. I'm saying it because clutter is mental friction. Clutter slows your brain down. Clutter reminds you of unfinished tasks. Clutter keeps you emotionally stuck. A clean room is a clean mind. A clean desk is a clean day. A clean environment is a clear runway for momentum. This is why elite athletes lay out their gear the night before. This is why successful entrepreneurs preset their workspace. This is why high performers don't leave their environment to chance, because they know the secret. Your environment shapes your outcomes. Set your clothes out at night. Prepare your gym bag the evening before. Organize your workspace before bed. Make ready your default state. Why? Because you're removing decision fatigue. You're removing the weakest version of yourself from the process. You're making success automatic. You have a choice. Continue leaving your environment up to chaos, or build a space that supports the disciplined version of you. 2. Remove everything that fights your focus. Your environment is full of small triggers, stress triggers, distraction triggers, temptation triggers. You don't notice them because they're normal to you, but your results notice them. Your discipline notices them. Your life notices them. You can't focus when your phone is buzzing every 10 seconds. You can't focus when your laptop has 42 tabs open. You can't focus when your workspace is filled with reminders of everything you haven't done. That's why high performers work in minimalist spaces. That's why they eliminate noise. That's why they remove temptation from the room instead of relying on willpower. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And your systems live inside your environment. You don't need their permission. You don't need anyone's approval to redesign your space. It's your life. It's your mission. You're the one carrying the weight of your dreams. So remove the distractions. Put your phone in another room. Limit visual clutter. Delete apps you don't need. Make distraction impossible. Because here's the truth. If your environment makes distraction easy, you will always lose. But if your environment makes discipline easy, you will always win. That's the key. 4. Make your environment remind you of who you're becoming. Your environment should reflect your goals, not your past. Too many people decorate their space with reminders of their old identity, old habits, old routines, old comforts. But growth requires identity shifts, and identity shifts require environmental shifts. Put your goals where you can see them. Put reminders of your standards in your workspace. Put your routines in plain sight. If you want discipline, surround yourself with cues that trigger discipline. The gym clothes laid out, the water bottle ready, the morning journal on the table, the healthy snacks visible instead of hidden, the books you need to read sitting on your desk, not buried behind your bed. You're building a system that speaks to you, a system that whispers, this is who you're becoming. Because here's the truth you can't ignore. You become what surrounds you. You behave according to the environment you live in. You are influenced by what your eyes see every day. Your environment shapes your outcomes. So build an environment that strengthens your identity. Build an environment that reinforces your discipline. Build an environment that reminds you that you're not the same person you used to be. You have a choice. You can surround yourself with triggers of your old habits, or you can surround yourself with evidence of your future. Chapter 9. Outwork your past, not other people. Most people waste their whole lives competing with the world, trying to outperform strangers, trying to impress people who don't care, trying to prove something to an audience that isn't even watching. But the truth is simple. The truth is sharp. The truth is non-negotiable. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. That's the key. You are not here to beat society. You are here to beat your past. Every single day, every single morning, every single choice. Beat who you were. That is the mission of this chapter. That is the frame that changes everything. Because the second you stop comparing yourself to the world, your energy returns. Your power returns. Your clarity returns. You don't need their permission to improve. You don't need their validation to grow. You don't need their timeline to evolve. You only need one thing: a daily commitment to outwork your past. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion. Because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinions. That's who you're fighting. Not the world. Not society. Not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. you only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinion. That's who you're fighting. Not the world, not society, not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinions. That's who you're fighting. Not the world, not society, not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinions. That's who you're fighting. Not the world, not society, not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinion. That's who you're fighting. Not the world, not society, not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice.
You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinions. That's who you're fighting. Not the world. Not society. Not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not your rival. Yesterday is. The world will always be louder. The world will always be faster. The world will always look like it's ahead of you. But that's an illusion, because you're not running their race. You're not on their path. You're not living their life. You have one rival, one enemy, one opponent. The older version of you. The version that procrastinated. The version that hesitated. The version that listened to fear. The version that waited for the right time. The version that cared too much about opinions. That's who you're fighting. Not the world. Not society. Not the imaginary pressure you created in your mind. You have a choice. You can keep measuring yourself against the noise around you, or you can measure yourself against the person you were 24 hours ago. And here's the truth you can't escape. You never lose when the opponent is your past self. You only grow. Every small win compounds. Every small improvement stacks. Every small decision builds the next version of you. That's the 1% daily upgrade. And that's how you beat your past. Beat who you were. 1. The world is not.
Chapter 20. Focus on you until you win. There is one rule that separates the people who rise from the people who remain stuck. They stay focused on themselves until the results speak so loudly that no one can ignore them. Not for a day, not for a week, not for a season, but for as long as it takes, as long as the mission demands, as long as the future version of them is still waiting to be built. You have a choice. You can keep watching others, or you can start building yourself. You can chase approval, or you can chase mastery. You can talk about the life you want, or you can lock in until you create it. Focus on you until you win. That's the principle. That's the power. That's the turning point. Because nothing destroys your progress faster than the addiction to distraction, comparison, and noise. And nothing accelerates your evolution faster than ruthless personal focus. Let's break it down. 1. The world won't give you permission to grow. If you are waiting for permission to focus on yourself, you'll wait forever. People won't understand your silence. They won't understand your discipline. They won't understand your grind. And they don't have to. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You only need clarity. Clarity about your goals. Clarity about your habits. Clarity about who you're becoming. When you focus on you, people will talk. When you pull back from the crowd, they'll question you. When you build quietly, they'll misunderstand you. That's fine. They're not supposed to get it. Your vision wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And here's the truth. You don't need them to see it. You only need to build it. Focus on you until you win. 2. The power of long-term consistency. People think breakthroughs happen suddenly. They think success appears out of nowhere. They think winners are born with some magical advantage. But the truth is simple. Breakthroughs are what consistency looks like from the outside. You grind for months, sometimes for years. You fail quietly. You learn privately. You repeat routines no one respects. You make sacrifices no one notices. You show up when motivation dies, and then one day the results hit all at once. The progress becomes visible. Your habits start paying dividends. Your identity shifts permanently, and the world calls it luck. But you'll know the truth. You earned it. You created it. You built it through repetition, discipline, and focus. That's the key. You win by staying locked in long enough for the work to compound. You have a choice. You can start today and stack small wins, or you can keep restarting your life every time you get distracted. Consistency wins. Focus wins. Discipline wins. Focus on you until you win. 3. The danger of splitting your energy. Every time you look at what others are doing, you steal energy from yourself. Every time you compare timelines, you weaken your own path. Every time you chase a trend, you abandon your foundation. You cannot build anything strong while your attention is divided. You cannot rise while you're watching everyone else climb. You cannot win if you keep leaving your lane. This chapter is about eliminating the competition mindset, not because competition is bad, but because competing with the world distracts you from the one person who actually matters. You. Your focus is your weapon. Your commitment is your advantage. Your discipline is your edge. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about speed. It's about concentration. Unbroken, uninterrupted, unapologetic. You don't need their permission to lock in. You don't need their approval to isolate yourself for growth. You don't need their understanding. This is your life, your mission, your responsibility. Focus on you until you win. 4. Quiet seasons build loud results. There will be seasons where you feel invisible, where the work feels repetitive, where progress feels slow, where nobody recognizes your effort. Good. That means you're in the crafting stage, the molding stage, the foundation stage. Quiet seasons are the birthplace of breakthroughs, because when the world isn't watching, you're free to experiment. You're free to fail. You're free to adjust. You're free to sharpen your weaknesses. There is no pressure, no eyes on you, no noise, only growth. Think of a seed. Before it becomes anything beautiful, it spends most of its life underground, in the dark, unseen, unnoticed. People only notice once it breaks the soil, once it rises, once it becomes something undeniable. You're the same. Your underground season is essential. Your private work is necessary. Your hidden discipline is what prepares your public victory, but only if you stay focused. Only if you stay consistent. Only if you refuse to quit halfway. Quiet seasons test your patience, but they build your greatness. Focus on you until you win. 5. Replace distractions with non-negotiables. If you want to win, you need non-negotiables. Daily habits that happen whether you feel like it or not. Standards that don't bend. Routines that don't negotiate. This is where transformation becomes real. Not in motivation, not in hype, not in emotion, but in non-negotiable discipline. Examples: your morning routine, your training schedule, your reading habit, your creative practice, your sleep discipline, your environment setup, your weekly goals. You don't skip them because someone called. You don't pause them because you're tired. You don't negotiate them because something came up. You do them because they're part of who you are. Identity, not effort. Standard, not mood. Discipline, not motivation. You have a choice. You can build a life based on feelings, or you can build a life based on principles. Winners choose principles. Winners choose structure. Winners choose self-focus. Focus on you until you win. 6. Your results will speak for you. You don't need to announce what you're building. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to explain your grind. When your results arrive, they speak louder than any explanation. They silence every doubt. They answer every critic. They validate every sacrifice. People won't understand your discipline until they see what it produced. People won't understand their isolation until they see where it led. People won't understand your focus until they see the life you created. And when that moment comes, they'll call it overnight. Let them. You'll know the truth. You earned everything through commitment, consistency, and clarity. That's the key. Work now, shine later. Focus on you until you win. Closing transition. You have learned one of the most powerful truths of personal transformation. Winners aren't louder. Winners aren't faster. Winners aren't luckier. They're simply more focused. But focus alone is not enough. To finish the journey, you must master the one skill that separates temporary change from permanent transformation: the ability to stay calm under pressure. This is your moment. Everything you want begins when you finally decide to stop chasing people, stop chasing validation, stop chasing permission, and start chasing your own potential. You know what to do now. You know what must change. You know the truth. Your life transforms only when you do. Focus on your habits. Focus on your discipline. Focus on your environment. Focus on your identity. Focus on your purpose. Focus on your future. And most importantly, focus on you until you win. Not until you're tired. Not until you're stressed. Not until the world believes in you. Until you win. So here is your final challenge. Starting today, eliminate one distraction, build one new habit, and take one bold step toward your future every single day. No excuses. No waiting. No stopping. This is your life. This is your time. Focus on you until you win. And don't you dare stop until victory is the only thing left.